Everybody. So today is our Wednesday class, Avadhuta Gita. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Bhu Bhuvaswaha Tatsavitra Varenayam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गम्या ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. So Thursdays we are studying Avadhuta Gita, and sometimes I understand that this scripture seems like above our head. Sometimes these terms, Dvait, Advait, Vishisht Advait, we just get confused by. I just wanted to go over some of the basics with you, because this Avadhuta Gita is about Advait Vedanta. These three are not like a divisions, like not a person is completely Dvait or Advait or Vishisht Advait. To me, I think these are the three stages for our unfoldment. So Dvait is a dualism, Advait is a non-dualism, and Vishisht Advait is called qualified non-dualism. So this is like how we view God. And this is all according to our standpoint of the viewer, how a viewer is seeing. According to the position of the Jeev, this Dvait, Advait, Vishisht Advait is. In Advait, that stage, there is nothing second to Brahma. It's Brahma and only Brahma. This is a non-dual absolute truth. It's a very nature of existence. One undivided pure consciousness. But when this pure consciousness is in conjunction with the Maya, it appears as Ishwar, personal aspect of God. That is Dvait. Some people call it Sagun or Nirgun. It can be Sakar. It can be Nirakar. It can be with the attributes and it can be without the attributes. It can be with the form. It can be formless. So all these ways Ishwar can appear to a devotee. Another way I would like you to understand this Dvait, Vishisht Dvait and Advait. See, Dvait is when you are positioned as a Jeev, identified with the body and mind. That means you are separate. You have a body and a mind. And God obviously is for you a greater personality. I'm here, God is up there. Supreme God. It could be in the form of a person or it could be in the form of energy. That is Dvait. God supreme, I am just a Jeev. And Vishisht Dvait is when you are beyond the body identification, you consider yourself as part of Him. He is whole and you are a part. That's what Lord Krishna told Arjuna. Mamev ansho jeev loke jeev bhuta sanatana. That's a Vishisht Advait. So you are beyond body identification. You are that part of God. So you consider yourself as a part of him. He is whole and you are part. That's a Vishishtatvat. And then there's a Advat, which this Avadhuta Gita is singing about. You know yourself as the Atma. You are non-different from Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma alone appears as Atma. That is Advaita. The same thing was explained by Hanumanji. When he was asked, what is your relationship with the Lord Ram? He said, Deha buddhya tu daso asmi. Jiva buddhya tu danshkaha. Atam buddhya to mev aham iti me nishchitamati. He says, oh Lord, when I identify myself with my body, I am your servant. Daso asmi. To be a das, you have to have identification with the body. How else you can serve? With the body you can serve. So deha buddhya tu daso asmi. I am your das, I am your servant. When I consider myself as individual soul, I am thy part. Jiva buddhya tu danshkaha. But when I look upon myself as the spirit, the Atma, I am one with you. So in these two simple looking lines, he is explaining these three philosophies or three stages of evolvement. The first one, when he says, I identify myself with my body and I am your servant, that's a Dvaita. When he says, I consider myself as individual soul, I am your part, Vishishta Dvaita. And when he says that I look upon myself as the spirit, Atma, soul, that is Advaita. So don't think that this philosophy which we are studying or this song which we are studying, this is a Gita. This is sung by Dattatreya, who is seeing only Brahma everywhere. Never think that it's not for us. This is the stage where we need to climb up to. While doing our duties, at least during meditation, we can feel that. Because sometimes we think that what this got to do with us. During meditation, what did Lord Krishna says? Sarva dharman paritajye mam ekam sharanam vraj. What is he saying at that time? He is not saying that don't take care of your body. He is not saying don't do your duties. He is saying when you are meditating, detach from this body, detach from this mind, detach from the intellect, detach from everything what you are supposed to do, become one with me. This is exactly what Dattatreya is teaching us in this beautiful scripture of Avadhuta Gita. So at least understand this from this standpoint. How you perceive yourself, that's how you'll be able to relate to reality. If you perceive yourself only a body, then sure, become a servant of God. If you perceive yourself only the soul, then you are part of him. When you don't perceive anything, only the Brahma, then what is the problem? No agitation, no fear, no worry. You are one. So that's why all the great gurus, they tell us, Brahma Vidya, Brahma Gyan is the highest Gyan. With that Gyan, you will know everything. Self-realization leads to God realization. When you know who you truly are, you can relate with the reality. Otherwise, you will be relating to reality as you wish. So this is what we learn in this simple, very Sanskrit is very simple in this scripture. But still, I would like you to have the word meaning also, so that you can draw the essence of it by yourself. Today we're going to start with the verse number 34. But any question, whatever I have talked about so far, because this is like the fundamentals I would like you to know. Okay.
Hersh,
Yes, Prem.
Namaskar ji.
Namaskar.
So is it understood that at some time we identify as the service servant, and sometimes we identify as a soul? So it depends on our state of being?
Yes.
Or do you have to make a decision?
No, you will feel that. You decide also, because initially you got to decide. To decide that I'm a servant, you got to identify with the body. But at that time, don't think that I am the body. I'm using
my body to serve God.
Serve God. But in order to serve God, yes, I have this body. I'm going to use this body to serve God.
So I'm using then, I'm actually taking the path of service.
That period of time.
At that period of time.
And the same personality can become one when
with Brahm at different time and
different
feel
time when
one
you are
with
in a when you rise above all these chakras become one during your meditation, then there's a feeling of oneness. And what happens when you really have experienced the oneness?
Yes.
When you come down to the body identification, the way you serve will change the color.
Oh, okay. But you can go back and forth.
Of course. That's what Hanumanji is saying. I go back and forth.
Okay.
That's exactly what he's saying. We have that capacity to go back and forth. So that's why I just want to bring it out to you that Advait does not mean those are some different category of people.
It's the state of being that decides.
It's really how you are relating to the reality. And what is a reality? Reality is this absolute truth, which you are. We need to have a perfect understanding of this.
But my question, Hershey, is it my state of being that decides, or is it my mind that decides?
No, deciding is always, no. Deciding is always done by your intellect.
Okay.
Faculty in you, the tool which have been given to you to decide is the intellect. Okay, so your intellect decides, but when you are above intellect, then you feel one. Then there's no decision.
So it's the feeling that really determines whether I'm one with Brahm or whether I'm identifying with my body to serve my God.
Exactly. Okay. It's just like it all depends in which step you are in. Sometimes you are deciding, sometimes you are above deciding. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
So let's look at number 34. Veda na loka na sura na yagyaha varna ashramo na eva kulam na jati na dhum margo na jadipti margo brahm ek rupam paramarth tattvam. Veda. That means the Vedas. Na means not, lokaha, the worlds, the realms. Na suraha. Sura means deities. Yagya, sacrifices. Varna ashramo, stages of life. Varna ashram. Grist, brahmacharya, vanprast, all those stages of life. Ev means indeed. Kulam, family. Jati, birth. Dhoom, smoke. Marg, path. Deepti, light. Again, Marg means path. Brahm, Ek means one. Rupam, form. Param, supreme. Earth means meaning. Tattvam, essence or the truth, reality. In Brahm, there are neither the Vedas nor worlds. Okay, like a lok, Prithvi lok, Swarag, Narak lok. So in Brahm, it's all one. These divisions are not there. So in Brahm, there are neither the Vedas, not worlds, nor gods. Gods means those Devtas. Indra Devta, Varun Devta. Nor sacrifices, yajna. In order to do the yajna, you have to have separate identification. There are neither stages of life, nor race, nor lineage. There's neither the path of smoke nor the path of light. Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, none of that. Only the self-same Brahma, the supreme reality exists. Okay, so there's no parts, there's no differences, it's just one. So stages of life, you already know. Brahmacharya, Grist, Vanprasth and Sannyas, right? And the different castes, you know. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. We talk about those also in Gita. Path of smoke also, path of light. Bhagavad Gita, you can go in chapter 8, verses 23 to 27. Lord Krishna has mentioned this path of smoke and path of light in detail over there. In Chandogya Upanishad, Brihad Aranak Upanishad, they all talk about this, the path of light and path of smoke. Path of light, you go back to where you don't come back. Path of smoke, you come back. Okay? So in Brahma, there is none of that because it's only Brahma. So when you have reached to that stage where this identification is so complete, then none of this really matter because all these are techniques to reach there. Those are ways to become one with God. When you have become one with God, then what is there to do? Nothing. व्याप्य अव्यापक निर्मुक्तः त्वम् एकः सफलम् यदि प्रत्यक्षं च अप्रोक्षं च हि आत्मनं मन्यसे कथम. व्याप्य, to be pervaded. So it's a simple word we use, vyapakta, or Bhagwan vyapak hai. So to be pervaded. Avyapak, it is the opposite of that. Nirmuktaha, free from. Tvam means you. Ekaha, one. Safalam, with fruits. Sa, phal. Yadi means if. Pratyaksham, directly perceptible. Pratyaksha. You can perceive with your senses. Aproksham, beyond the sight. Cha means and, he means this. Atmanam, self. Manya, say, you know, or think of yourself. Katham means how. So he says, if you have realized that absolute one, which is free from the pervader and the pervaded, how can you think of the Atma as perceptible or imperceptible? Because Atma is a part of Brahma. Who is going to perceive Atma? Because we perceive something with the help of the senses. And if you think that, no, I want to perceive this with I have a perfect eyesight, I want to see Atma. You cannot. There's no instrument which can perceive Atma or Brahma. If you think, okay, all right, eyes, maybe my mind is very sharp. I can perceive with the mind. No. Whether it's a mind or intellect, they all fall short. That's why he says, how can you think of Atma as perceptible? Okay. Then he says, Advaitam kechit ichanti dvaitam ichanti cha aprehesamam tatvam na vidanti dvait advait vivarjitam. Advaitam, non-duality. Kechit, some. Ichanti, desire. Dvaitam, duality. Again, ichanti means desire, cha means and, apare, others. Samam, same. Tattvam, essence. Na means not, vindanti, find. Again, dvait means duality, advait, non-duality. Vivarjitam, free from. Some prefer to be non-dualist, while others prefer to be dualist. But none of them truly knows the self-same Brahma. Because when you are one with Brahma, you can't even say that I'm a dualist or non-dualist. Doesn't even matter. These titles don't even mean anything then. Which is devoid of duality and non-duality. Okay, so this is something you need to realize, not just talk about. See, that's the reason I just clarified it in the beginning of the class, these terms for you. Don't get confused. This is something we need to experience. Once you experience, you can't even talk about it. Some of the old time saints, they say, once you experience it, it's almost like people who know Hindi, if somebody is a gunga, gunge ke gud ka swad. If somebody who cannot speak and eating good means jaggery, how can they say? They cannot describe it. This is what it is. When you try to describe Brahma or Brahmahood or oneness with the Brahma, you will fall short. So you have to just only experience it. Even two people who have experienced it, they really cannot converse. It is beyond expression, beyond words. Because the minute you start talking about it, you are mudding it. That's why he said it's devoid of duality and non-duality. Don't even get into the conversations and the arguments. Your job is to experience it, become it, not to talk about it. Shvet adi varan rahitam shabad adi gun vivarjitam kathyanti katham tatvam manah vacham agocharam. Shvet, white, adi, etc. That means the other colors. Varn, color. Rahitam, free from. Shabd, sound. Adi, etc. Gun, qualities. Varchitam, free from. Kathyanti, they describe. Katham, how. Tatvam, reality, essence. Manaha, mind. Vacham, that's like a speeches of the mind. Any kind of a speech. Agocharam, beyond the spheres of the senses. See, gochar means something gone. What really goes away? Our senses. They're like horses. They want to go somewhere. Eyes want to see, ears want to hear, nose want to smell. But this is agocharam, beyond the spheres of the senses. Brahm is free from colors. If somebody says, no, I saw that color in my meditation, it's a mind which is playing the tricks. Brahm is free from colors, such as white, blue, and yellow, or any other color. Because I have heard people start discussing, arguing also, because discussion, where does that lead? Arguments, ultimately. My color is better than yours. My color of blue is better than your color of blue. So Brahm is free from colors, such as white, blue, and yellow. It is devoid of qualities. That means devoid of sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Those are the qualities he's talking about, the gunas. Because where do those guna reside? In Maya. God is called, Brahm is called Nirgun. And also such as a sound, touch, and smell. Beyond that also, how do people describe Brahm? Which is beyond mind and speech. How can you describe? You cannot describe. That's what he's saying. So this is a question at the end. Kathyanti kathatvam manaha vacham agocharam. How can you describe? So beyond mind and speech, so although Brahm is beyond mind and speech, it is revealed through the pure mind though. Don't think that it cannot be revealed. In the Katha Upanishad, and one of these days we will start Katha Upanishad also, because that's a very first Upanishad the serious students should study, Katha Upanishad. It says the Atma, hidden in all beings, does not shine forth, but it is seen by the subtle seers through their one-pointed and subtle minds. So that's why with all these studies, with the meditation, what are we trying to do? We are trying to make our mind subtlest. Senses cannot see it. Speech cannot speak about it. But a subtler mind, when it reaches to that point, it can definitely see it. So that's why it's called a Gyan Chakshu. What did Lord Krishna give Arjun? Because Arjun wanted to see God, because God said, I'm everywhere. He says, I don't see you. He says, because with these eyes you cannot see me. But he says, I will give you because you are so dear to me. Gyan Chakshu. Those are the subtler eyes. Then you can see God. It's not that he's not there. It's not that Brahm doesn't exist. But our own mind and intellect is too dirty. It's just focused only into the matter. The right tune-up is not done. That's why we cannot see it. Then number 38, he says, Yada anritam idam sarvam deh adi gagan upamam tada hi brahm samveti na te dvait paramparaha. Yada means when, anritam, false. See, amrit means the nectar or the truth. Anritam, see, if you break it down, it's a anritam. Rit means the truth. Anrit means the false. So these are similar sounding words. We got to see in the right import, what do they really mean? Idam means this, sarvam all, deh body, adi, etc. Gagan, sky or space. Upamam, like the sky, like resembling. Upamam. Tada means then, he means thus, Brahm, samveti, knows. Na means not, te is you, dvait, duality, parampara, tradition. When everything in this world, including the body, becomes unreal and void like space. Then truly one knows Brahma. Okay? It's a pretty deep meaning in here in these words. Let me read it again. When everything in this world, including the body, because sometimes we can detach from the world, but we cannot detach from this body. It is so dear to us. Even for a person who cannot let go of the money which he earned and saved, when this body gets sick, they'll spend all the money on the body because money, body is dearer than the money. So in that sense, he's saying when everything in this world, including the body, becomes unreal and void like space. It's total detachment. And that's what Avadhuta is. Avadhuta Avastha is where you have detached from the body completely. Then truly one knows Brahma. That's why even in the earlier stages where the Lord Krishna is telling us or Rishi Patanjali is telling us, they talk about Vairagya. Vairagya, what does Vairagya mean? Detachment. Detachment from what? Anything which you think that's yours, detach from it. If you really want to know the reality. Then truly one knows Brahma. Then there's no longer any parade of dualities for him. Because duality is always at this level. Then there's no dualities. It's only one everywhere, Brahm and Brahm alone. Paren सहज आत्म अपि ही अभिन्नः प्रतिभाति मे व्योम आकारम तथा एव एकम ध्याता ध्यानम कथम भवेत. Paren means with supreme. Par means supreme. You remember those two terms, apar and par. Par means supreme. Apar is lower. Sahaj, natural. Atma, self. Api means even. He means thus. Abhinnaha, non-difference too. See, bhin means different. So it's a non-different. Pratibhati, seems. Me means my. Vyom, sky or space. Akaram, formed of. See, akar means a form. Tatha means thus. Ev means really. Ekam, one. Dhyataha, meditator. Dhyanam, meditation. Katham means how. Bhavet, could there be. It appears to me that my innate self and the supreme self, see, Atma and Paren, my self and the supreme self. And innate self means the innermost, the Atma, and the supreme self are truly identical and exactly like one continuous space. It's like atmosphere outside and atmosphere inside. When you break down the walls, there's no difference. It's the same. The air inside the balloon and the air outside the balloon, when you puncture the balloon, it's the same air. So Atma and Brahma, he says, are truly identical and exactly like one continuous space. There is no boundary. How can there be a meditator in the meditation then? Because as long as you are a meditator and you are doing the meditation, still there are walls. I, the meditator, is meditating upon the object of my meditation. But when there's one, what can you meditate upon? See that? That's why I said that this is such a beautiful scripture. If you really know this is Sanskrit, it's a simple Sanskrit, you'll be singing this all day long. And not only singing, you'll be living in that kind of ecstasy. While cleaning the floor or watering the plants or cooking the food or cleaning the bathroom, you can still sing this. You don't have to sit in front of the altar to sing this. In front of the altar, when we sit, me and my God, when we are singing this, then there's no me and my God, it's only one. But you got to experience this though. And you will see that if you experience it even once, you'll have a taste of it. Everything else will seem so pale compared to this. So pale. You won't be drawn towards it. Then he says in number 40, oh, this one is just like Lord Krishna says. In fact, exactly same words. Yat karomi, yad ashnami, yat juhomi, dadami yat etat sarvam na me kinchit vishud aham aja avya. Remember that? Yat means whatever. Karomi I do. Ashnami I eat. Juhomi I sacrifice. Like a worship. Dadami I give. Etat means this. Sarvam all. Na not. Me mine. Kinchit any. Vishuddh pure. Aham I am. Aja unborn. Avyah indestructible. Whatever I do, whatever I eat, whatever I offer in sacrifice, and whatever I give away, none of these belong to me. Why? Because I am ever pure, unborn, and immutable. Atma doesn't own anything. Because all of this, whatever I eat, whatever I give, whatever I worship, who owns it all? Prakriti does. And who owns Prakriti? God does. So he says, I am ever pure, unborn, and immutable. Beautiful verse, isn't it? Simple terms, but if you understand it, this should be our philosophy if we want to rise above into this realm. Yat karomi, yat ashnami, yat juhomi, dadami yat. Because sometimes we think when we are giving also, we think that it's mine and I'm giving it, I don't want to give it away. And we want to have our names written over there. If not our names, we want our parents' name to be written there. Then again, you are bound. Over here, this great Rishi is telling us how to get unbound, how to feel free in the real sense. He's not saying don't do it. Do it, but with this kind of a feeling. Or even eating also. So every day we eat, not just eating from the mouth, we are eating through the eyes also, the ears also, the nose also. Sarvam jagat vidhi nirakriti, idam sarvam jagat vidhi vikar hinam, sarvam jagat vidhi vishuddh deham, sarvam jagat vidhi shiv ek rupam. Sarvam means all, jagat means world. Vidhi, no. Nirakriti, shapeless. See, akriti means a shape. Nirakriti means no shape. Nirakriti. Idam means this, sarvam all, jagat world. Vidhi, no. Vikar, change. Hinam, devoid of. Sarvam all. Again, jagat and vidhi, you know. Vishuddh, purified. Deham, body. Sarvam all. Shiv, blissful. And I told you in the introduction that the Shiv word comes quite a bit in the scripture. And Shiv means auspicious or blissful. Ek means one, Rupa means nature. Know all this universe to be formless. Okay? See, we are constantly worried about and concerned about the forms. He says, this universe is formless. Know all this universe to be devoid of transformation. Know all this universe to be pure existence itself. Vishuddha. Know all this universe to be of the nature of supreme beatitude. This is all Brahm, nothing but Brahm. It's all blissful, it's all auspicious. When we are talking about something which is not right, it's because our own judgment is saying that. Even when we say it's a dark, sun has set. Has the sun set? Sun never sets. We say the person is dead. Is the person dead? Nobody dies. Nobody can die. So this is where this great Rishi is taking us, to this kind of a pure, blissful feeling where it's nothing but Brahm. We have dissolved into that Vishuddha. Okay, so I'm going to start the meditation in a few minutes, but if anybody has any question, a couple of questions we can take, and then I'll start. The meditation will end with the 10 minutes of meditation today. Okay, so any question, because I know sometimes you have the questions and we say that next week you can ask, by the time you have forgotten, or so many other things have come in between. But I would like to give you a chance to ask a question, quick question, if you want to. But if there's no question, then I'll start the meditation soon.
I'm sorry, Namaste. I wasn't able to join the class just 5 minutes ago. So I was lost. I didn't know where we are.
It's okay. What you can do, Shimmy, you can just, Jyoti is going to record. She did record it. She's going to put it up on the website and listen to it. Okay. If you have any question after that, please do call. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.